Hello. So today we are going to be doing a chart, the design of a chart, and a little bit of prototyping. But the design will be more of how to actually create these charts and things to keep in mind. So let's get into it. All right. So this is what we're going to be doing today, and we clicking Shift and Spacebar, and selecting clicking Shift and Spacebar. We're going to look like this, and then we do a little bit of prototyping there. So for this orientation, just for those who wouldn't know, you'd come out of it, click on the orientation you want. So if you want it to be like this, it will then come here. Then if you want it to be the other way, which is what we want, this landscape mode or version of it, then you switch it here. So let us start because we have a lot to cover. So click on frame and then Android large. That's what I'm using because I use an Android phone, and you then turn it to 90 degrees. And the next thing you do is, so we there are two parts. There is the line, the curved line, right? Sometimes it's a straight line. So there's the curve, and then there's the net, which is this lines, the horizontal and vertical lines that make up a net shape. So those are the two parts that mix up, and then of course the numbers by the sides that you use to measure what you are trying to get, the value you're trying to get. So there are two types of lines, like I said. There's a straight and there's a curved. I use this plugin called Chartline to get curves that look much more natural and much more like a generated an actual generated curve. So you could use clicking on Shift I on the plugins. You could use just search for it Chartline, and you'd be able to set it the way you want and increase the number of points, do all of that. So, but if you wanted to like draw the the line yourself, I tried it. I didn't like the way it was looking because it was looking weird. So you click on P or click on this icon. Then let me start all over again. So you click on P or you click on this icon, it brings it up. Then you then put the points and draw. One thing to take note of is when doing a straight line, this point has to align with the timestamps underneath. So actually um, it actually makes sense, at least to some extent. So at least some of the dots have to be on the timestamps below. So the dev at least knows that okay, at this point, where it's showing this particular dot, it's correlating with the timestamp for 9 p.m. and then it's connected to the price that is at that particular point. So there has to be some sort of logic to what you're doing, at least to you. Then it's supposed to be displayed in the design, and then the dev is able to you're able to explain what you did with that logic. So yeah, so let's just create something. And then click on escape and escape again. So this is my line chart. It's straight. It's the straight version. If you wanted to make it curve, you have to click on the bend tool or control here and click here, and it's then kind of coarse. So as you're saying, it's the way it's coming out. When I was done, it usually doesn't really look like a generated um, chart curve. So I prefer to generate it from these plugins and use it. So it looks much more like a curve, right? So you have to adjust and adjust to make sure it looks a little bit natural, which you can spend your time doing. But of course, anything that helps you to save time, it's best to do it. So I generated this one. Let me, in fact, bring it here. It looks way better, much more like a generated curve, as you can see, rather than drawing it. That's why I'd recommend, if you, especially if you're not good with drawing with the pen tool, just use a plugin to generate the curve for yourself. Either it's a straight or a curved type. All right, so let's get into finishing this. So when you have gotten the curve, you we need to one will represent the stroke and the other one the filled part of the curve. So we're going to Ctrl D and duplicate. And for this one, in fact, for this one here, we're going to complete it because as you can see, even though this is the curve, there's going to be a line that closes it up to form some sort of a rectangle. The fuller rectangle is here with the net, but even with this one, the filled part, to get that filled part, you have to complete the curve. So let's do that. So you double click on it and click on P to get your pen tool. Then you can click on Shift to make sure that it's straight, right? And so you click again, and as you see, it's guiding us to wherever we want to connect it. If as I'm clicking on Shift, so I click on it, and this you have to make sure that it's complete. That's the it completes the shape, and there's no part that's open, so that we can then have a fill, as you see. So why we need two is because with this one we need to remove the stroke. We can't do it in such a way where it just has the stroke at the top here and it doesn't fills the entire shape. So we need to have one without the stroke. Um, Actually, I'm going to use this color here. So we will remove the stroke, and this other one we duplicated will serve as our stroke. And I'm going to give that one a fill. No, sorry, increase the stroke line. Yeah. While this one we're going to reduce it. Now, depending on what you want, sometimes sometimes there is we can give it a, a sort of linear gradient. In fact, let's do that. So we'll have this as white. This stops. You can see it's actually a new thing in Figma. It's one of these little changes they make from time to time, which is cool. Actually, I actually like it. So we have this. Okay, so we would use this as chart is looking good. Let's delete this guy. All right, so the next thing is the net. Let me group this. We're going to name it charts curve, right? Chart curve. So the next thing is the line, the net, and it's just made up of lines, horizontal and vertical lines. I'm clicking on L. We draw this, and we're going to give it. This is a color. I believe. Give it 20%. What just happened? Okay, 20. So it's not so bold that it takes attention, but it's there, so it helps to um, guide guide the I don't know the movement of the curve. Like if you want to find a particular price at a particular part of the curve that represents the time that happened, the price at a particular time. These lines, the horizontal and vertical, helps to do that. Helps to give you an idea. So for the lines, when doing this, you have to also say, okay, how many? We're going to do a day time frame, so 1 day, and that's 24 hours. So how many hours are you going to have the on this particular curve? So for 24, we can't really have 24, so let's break it into two. We have 12 hours, and it has an interval of 2 hours. So you think that way. So when you are explaining to the dev, say, okay, this is what this means, and this for whenever they are on a day time frame, as they move, it's always going to have um, a timestamp that ranges for a whole day of 24 hours, but broken into you know an interval of 2 hours, that kind of thing. So you think logically, don't just do this. I know there's someone that once said, sometimes we designers um we almost do as though everything is like an art, but we have to mix our design with some sort of logic, which I think is it's quite true. So let's finish up. So for 24-day, we could have 12 lines, 12 lines showing um 2 hours intervals, so it makes up 24. And I'm actually going to bring out 13 lines because this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. So that one of the lines actually is going to be at the edge. So I just clicked on tidy up so I can be able to do this, like adjust it properly. It's looking good. The next thing you do is you need the horizontal lines. You need the horizontal lines, and I'm just going to take this one will be maybe 80, so it's much more. It's having like our border. So I'm going to take this one and give it 0. So this is going to be one of the horizontal lines. I'm going to start from the top there, and we are going to have duplicates. So one thing now, I want this to be above of the highest point of the curve. Even these guys. I no, it won't work because they're not having the same names. So I need all of this to be above the highest point. So it's like it's inside the charts curve is inside of the net, and it makes more sense that way. This make a duplicate. Now again, how many points are we going to have here? That is like for the price. How many points are we going to have to? What's going to be the highest price for this chart that shows at a time? Like how many of them are going to have? You have to think about that. And let's say I'm going to do like 1,000 and break it down into five. So it's 0 to 100, 400 to 1 up to 1,000. And so I'm going to do 1 to 3, 4, 5, right? And okay, I think this is good. I think this is good. Yeah, it's good. So next thing we do is our numbers, which will bring this alive some way. So we're going to do the, let's say, 0.00, which serves as midnight. I'm going to have this to be this, or yeah, no. So I think this is good just for high contrast, so they can see. One other thing I just remembered. So you could, it depends on what you want to do. Actually, this is okay if we do it like this. So it's okay actually. So depending on what you want, how you want your design to be, you could bring this down where it's this is still part of the, it's still inside of the charts. I actually think that's kind of better. So I'm going to actually do that, and then this will come here, something like that. Yeah. Right. So since we are doing 2 hours, this is going to be 02, but this is the 24-hour time frame. It makes more sense for most people around the world. So we have 4 a.m. and we just duplicate that. Yeah, so 4 a.m., 6, 8, 10, 12. After 12, what do we have? We have 1 p.m. No, I think there is in tech. Yeah, 12, 14, um, 16, 18, 20, and 22. And then we go back to this, right? So yeah, that's how you try and at least create some sort of logic. So the when they are implementing it, you can explain how the logic works, and they can then help you code it. So I'm going to, at this point here, we're looking at our price. So it will be 0.00. So they're all having two decimals. This will be this will be 200. So like you said, we're going to do, and that's why I gave this space initially, so we could put in the price. You have to think about all of these things. So it's not just like you're just designing. Your design has to have some sort of sense to it. So when it's being coded, it's to be easier for the user and the dev to understand. So so we have this. We are basically done. This one, I think this one is, let's give it like 50. Now we just need to, let's say we want to put in a time frame. I'm going to bring this down like this, like so. You should actually even, wait, let me do this. So click on hold control to actually, when you're doing it from this, I usually mistake that control and shift. So we group this and we say this is our next chart next. So we can always click on it when we want to make changes. So the next thing we do is just maybe bring this guy, the assets, the price, and and then we have this showing direct the I clicked on Shift X to switch from fill to stroke. So we have this to have be our toggle for the day, the time frame from day to maybe weekly time frame, and then monthly time frame and all of that. So I'm going to, starting with this. So I'm going to say 1 day. We spent 20 minutes. Need to just finish up. So we have 1 week. Sorry, 1 week and 1 month, maybe 6 months or 3 months, 6 months and a year. All right, you can use this to maybe even increase it a little bit. So because they're going to click on this button, so you want to at least create enough touch radius for the users. I think this is good. So we have a rectangle. This was 4, so we are going to give this guy maybe at this side alone. No, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I'm going to give this 4. Click on this corner radius to maybe make this to be, huh. So you make this 4, make this 4. So these corners are now independent. That's how you actually make certain. You could also use this, like, just, but I prefer to just use that. So this guys, this guy is actually going to be at the top, bring forward by close brackets. Okay, so just trying to round up now. We could use this and then give this white. Um, yeah, this is fine as well. Just I think this would now have to be like, yeah, medium or bold. So next thing now will be what? Let's do our prototyping. Let's prototype this shit. So we click on Alt. We click on Alt and then we have this black. Okay, so we are done. We are done. This blue, I don't know why I don't like this blue, but let's see. What can we do? Blue, blue. I think this is better. Is it better? Is it better? It's just somehow in my eyes. I think. Or yep. Okay. So we are done. So we just let's say we have a something here. I'm not going to do that because there's a lot of time that has been gone. So, but one thing you should also look at now for the monthly part. The monthly part has this right. This 1 week, not the monthly. Sorry, the weekly time frame. Now you're supposed to like change this and say, okay, it's going to be for 7 days, right? And you change the net to adjust to that. In fact, let's just do that. Let's just do it. So for chart nets, I could I could say I'm going to delete like 4 of them, and we adjust this to the 7, so it's over the course of 7 day period, that kind of thing. And then we also do that for all of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4 gone. Then you tidy up, so you can then, if you don't find these dots, you have to tidy up, make sure they are evenly spaced, so you can then be able to adjust them like so. That's one thing. That's how you do it. So you get the idea now, and then you can change the charts just to show that it moves. So for this now, you could move this down, and if you're moving one, you have to make sure you move the other one, and so you do that. So I'm just trying to show you guys so that when we prototype it, at least it shows that motion that okay, it's changed and it's not the same time frame. So we need to do smart animate, and same likewise with this smart animate. Let's see what we got. Actually looking good. So when you click on 1 week, you see it's just adjusts. It adjusts. We didn't really like change the time. We're supposed to put like dates now instead of just time. If dates and time, right? So that's how you try and do create a chart that not only looks good but also has some logic behind it. With the lines and then the prices, the price range, and all of that. So that's how you create the chart. So I hope you guys you learned something or you heard something new that will help in your designs. And I hope to see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe so more people can get to see these tutorials. Thank you. Bye.